Hello there everyone and welcome back. It's time to try once again with the multiplayer, and I have made a few tweaks to my army, primarily to my lizardman army, and I have made a couple other custom forces to kind of try and play around with a bit. Or I might rather, experiment with a ranged type of Skaven army, since, Queek and his army is going to be pretty well limited just because I don't have access to all the units that could benefit at least that could benefit such a playstyle at least. I would love to have the wolf rats, and even then, I have made a bit of tweaks with them, but I don't think I'm going to try them for this session at the very least. But what I have done that I think I'm pretty happy with my lizardmen, is I have completely redone this to a big extent. I believe what I have done is I downgraded the Stegodon. It was an ancient Stegodon before. Despite the awkwardness that I had trying to tweak around with this before. And, I downgraded the Regiment of Renown Cold Ones, since I did not realize that I was paying 300 gold for them to also be Vanguard deployment and not really utilizing it. Although, don't get me wrong, that probably would be great to use that in a Vanguard form against the ranged units that have been having heavy trouble getting at. And immune psychology may not be all that exciting. It might not. Hard to say if that's true or not. But it could. I think I downgraded as a result of that. And hell, I was half tempted to get rid of both these and then replace them with a horned one to kind of go with my old blood Saurus. It's not a terrible idea, since that one 2v2 match where I actually got use out of my cavalry squad, my old blood didn't really do any damage, and that was probably because he was stuck behind everything else. But either way, I downgrade that, I downgrade the Stegodon here. I'm trying to remember what else I tweaked. With the extra cash though, I did manage to upgrade, maybe, into a Carnosaur from my Feral Stegodon, which hopefully will give me a little more well-rounded type of monstrous creature to rampage with. And I got rid of my spears because of that, or some Temple Guard. And in all honesty, I'm a little more comfortable, I'm a little more happy with this formation. I still get a nice BP front wall. I could use the Temple Guard for said front wall, but they would probably be more about positioning to help where I am weakest at the very least. And I like this inclusion. I still have my Cold One Riders at a nice discount, since really, all I'm really getting is additional melee attack, melee defense, which I guess isn't terrible considering that's like a big whopping 20-30ish% of their attack and defense. That's not a terrible thing, all things considered. And they can rampage. Yeah, Primal Instinct, it just does not want to tell me up here. So that's a little misleading to know that rampage could be a thing with these guys, which I also suppose is another benefit to these. Immune psychology means they don't rampage, but if they can avoid taking heavy damage, that's not really an issue. It's just the main thing I'm going to have to watch is if I have too many Cold One Riders grouped up together. I like the idea of having a 3-man squad with the Old One and the 2 Cold One Riders kind of patrolling around and getting targets of opportunity. And I was also thinking of downgrading the Chameleon Skinks to regular Skink Skirmishers, as I didn't really use stock the way it was intended after all. It was an option, especially since the damage potential with the additional numbers of the Skink Skirmishers would not have been that drastically different, and I still would have gotten the same use, I would argue, out of the Skink Skirmishers. Either way, this is still a work in progress. I was even contemplating getting the Amaxon Barbs here, kind of to serve the same role of what I had in mind with the Skinks. Only they have a lot more power, a little more range and durability maybe, and of course they still poison flying units. That was something I was seriously considering too, but we'll work on that later. And then otherwise, I am possibly going to play around with another army here, with a Slan Priest of Life. The idea here is, of course, to kind of focus on durability and resilience, I don't really have much flanking potential, which does worry me a bit, but with a Revivification Crystal on top of the Slan Healing, this could be an incredibly durable group. I just don't know how to get the most out of it, if I were to be honest. And of course, Star Chamber Guardians to kind of protect the Slan. That kind of is a must. It's kind of self-explanatory, if nothing else. But we will play around with the lizard some more, and maybe I might try and have some fun with making a brand new army too. I don't know what army I would actually deviate from if I want to try something that isn't Skaven or Lizardmen, honestly. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can get a better result or better progress, as I only seem to have won the first 2 matches and then everything else was complete losses, mainly because I didn't know what I should be targeting or how I should have been engaging, especially with the Skaven forces, since I kind of just rushed in there with reckless abandon after all. And the Rat Ogres sadly didn't have much of an opportunity to kind of get the targets they want. At least that was what it seemed like, at least. Maybe I just need to be made more patient with them, for the Rat Ogres to do work. Maybe. Hopefully, I'm assuming, yeah, this is the same times I did last stream, so I'm assuming we'll hopefully be doing alright on the queues. I just don't know how long to realistically wait. How long it might take. Ideally, I would like to do these streams on the weekend where there's the most players possible, as that would help a little bit with the times and maybe a little bit with the matchmaking if there is such a thing as matchmaking with this game. Hello there, Medoras. Welcome to the stream. We are just starting off with our first match here, at least looking for a match. And hopefully, I can improve on this compared to last time, the last session I did. I am really happy with the tweaks that I have made with my Lizardman army, and I'm eager to see how that improves. It's just again an honest question, if it might be a bit of overkill, having the Old Blood and 2 Cold One Riders with them, especially if one of those units is likely not going to get to do a lot of damage, as was made apparent with my poor Old Blood not really doing anything. But otherwise I am doing well, although I did not mean to tab this over to another window. There we go. Match found, what do we get? What do we get? 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, anything is possible here. And what is the map? Just an open field desert, which sounds like it would be good for range weaponry, arguably. But I'll leave the Clan Skyer force for later. But that's something I'm gonna have to pay attention to is the map. I just need a nice repertoire of different forces to really be able to take advantage of different map layouts though. That is going to take a long process, but it looks like this is pretty straightforward. Doesn't look like there's much complicated terrain to worry about. So you're going by the nickname of the Stellaris update, are you? Yeah, I heard all about that. I did not even look at all that stuff there. I just heard of the memes. It makes my life easy, I guess. Either way, we are playing against Orcs. This will be a nice little scrum. I am excited to play with Mega Publics again there, which I think the plan is going to be April 27th, I think we're going to try. Unless there are serious issues with the multiplayer. You can stay tuned for that, basically. In another week and a half, hopefully we'll dive into Stellaris. It's just a question on how long our campaign is going to last. With that said, and I am really excited, both the alien races that I created for previous campaigns actually get benefits towards infiltration and the new stuff being added. Well, hopefully this will be a treat for you then. Yet, I'm interested with the announcement of Total Warhammer 3. It's definitely going to have a nice resurgence, although I don't have a clue how many people actually play in the multiplayer, if I'm honest. I imagine there's not many, considering the 20,000 or so people currently playing this game are probably more focused on the single player. But I did do a session on Tuesday. I reworked my Lizardman army with that experience in mind, and I'm gonna hopefully improve on that somehow. It just, of course, relies on the nuances, knowing where I'm strongest, where I'm weakest, and of course, knowing what engagements I should be trying to take. So fingers crossed this goes well. Yeah, the campaign map, it can be fun, but it can also be a bit repetitive at the same time, as the AI can replenish the army relatively quickly, but if you control your army well, you're not really losing a whole lot, especially if you're in friendly territory to recover your army relatively quickly too. Otherwise, we have 4 Source Warriors. This is an interesting layout. Where do I expect them to deploy? Probably somewhere over here. I don't expect a lot of range, and this is not much of a slope for them. I'm expecting this to be a very aggressive match. Orcs like to be aggressive anyway. And with that in mind, I'm going to go... I should probably just deploy in the middle in all honesty, a little more flexible that way. But this could allow for me to flank them. And I want the Temple Guard in the middle to kind of serve as the mobile reinforcement, ideally. I don't know what to do with the cold ones though, because again, there's a lot of nuances to keep in mind. Well, glad to hear you enjoyed that with a Twitch streamer. Yeah, co-op no less, so I am really glad to hear that. Hopefully everyone had a good time though, because that's what we honestly want, right? The more enjoyable the game is, the more it hopefully helps encourage more development for that game. Otherwise, let me get my group set up. Stake it on. I don't know how to utilize you, but hoping they just finished up. Let's keep that in mind. Okay, they're all in the proper group. Let's fix this. There we go. Skink Preacher set, Chameleons. I don't know what to actually do with these, how to take advantage of the stock, honestly. Because again, I just want them to deal with flyers, but what happens if there's no flyers, with that said? And where do I put you? I have 20 seconds to decide. I think they're hitting if they're down here, if I'm honest. But I don't think that really does me a lot of good, let's be honest. Let's see how this goes. Everyone's grouped, everyone's set. Fingers crossed I don't screw up. They got chariots. That's kind of fine. And actually, let me just toggle walk until they actually get into firing range. That way I'm not exhausting myself a bit. And what are these? Just wolf riders. Annoying little harassers, and they are fast harassers at that. But we are doing good damage on them at least. Nope, that's not what I want. Dang it. I messed up my controls thinking I could do an easy way to rotate. But let's see how this goes. We got swords going in. And what kind of boys are these? These are savage big boys. Now get these guys over here. Swords should get going. And if we could flank these guys, that'd be great. But Carnosaur... yeah, we could get a nice flank going on here if I can get the savage boys. But my skinks are getting demolished, but they are tying up stuff at the same time. Those are black orcs. We can flank them. We got a nice surround there, but can I get this shaman? I am getting flanked heavily, but maybe my skink priest can kind of scare him off a bit. And these guys don't have charge defense, so I'm hoping to plow right through them into the archers. And then kill the archers with that said, if I'm lucky. I say that, and of course, my lord is stuck in the mess. They're not really meant for fighting infantry, but it works out well. And my Temple Guard aren't really fighting anything, which is a bit of a mistake. Carnosaur's not really doing much either. And he's rampaging, which I kind of did not pay attention to him. But we are doing damage to their archers, right? They did a lot of damage to my riders. And I am shooting these guys right now, so that's kind of good. Just defend this thing, soak up some trouble. Probably not the best engaged way this could have gone, as my riders are getting pummeled right now. And because I have the Cold One riders grouped up, it's a little bit trickier to control my lord the way I want. A rampage there. Carnosaur sadly is just sitting duck. I kind of underestimated how much damage those archers can do. And speaking of which, yeah, they're getting demoralized. Probably a terrible use of that Stegodon, I won't lie. But the archers are getting clobbered. If I could keep that going. And I was worried those rocks were actually going to fall on my units. For a brief moment. And we already have squads of units fighting here. Black Orcs causing problems. I need my... I need to somehow deal with these archers. I'm going to lose archers again, dang it, and I'm not liking it. They still have armor, though, sadly. Not a good use for this thing, but it is shooting them, which hopefully is worthwhile. You guys are slow, alas. And oh, my lord's getting attacked, or is... Nope, those are just cold ones. I am just... It's probably not working out as I like. Sadly. I'm just gonna lose the archers again, it feels like. And they're probably getting really good value out of it, with that said. Temple Guard are surrounded, alas. Skink Priest is demoralizing them. Yeah, they're completely broken. I want them to break off the map. Make this worth it, even though it probably isn't. Yeah, rocks. I saw rocks falling there, but... And I do need you to get into the fight, but their lord took no damage. This is not looking good for me at the moment, but... Especially with my lord taking all the damage he is. Okay, they're broken, but that's probably too little too late. My lord's just gonna die, isn't he? Yeah. I lost to archers yet again. Even though my Cold One riders went right after him, it still wasn't friggin' enough. Although losing the Carnosaur definitely is what hurt me most, let's be honest. That is probably what is costed me. Dang it. That's a shame. I need to figure out how I can actually get those dang archers, because I'm losing to them constantly. My Carnosaur went berserk. You figure it would have been decent, but they did enough armor-piercing damage to make that... It kind of killed it off, sadly. I was fielding a bunch of Source Warriors, Temple Guard, which are just basically armor-piercing, Chameleon Skinks, which did decently, but I guess in his 3-on-1 that was a terrible exchange for him. And then Carnosaur did absolutely nothing. Who should the Carnosaur gone after, in all honesty? Probably the Black Orcs? Just a bunch of lizards created by the old ones. The same old ones as the 40k world. Only twisted around for the benefit of fantasy. They are basically the good guys in a sense, maybe? Question mark. They just have a really difficult time communicating with all the other factions. They only know that they must crush chaos at every opportunity when it presents itself. It's just up to interpretation what is considered against the great plan of the old ones, or if what is considered chaotic or corrupted. I'll try that again. I probably wasn't being patient enough with my units, but again, when you're being shot at by a lot of archers, it's tricky to punish them, especially when I'm slower than them. Although with that said, I'm just curious about the pricing, so I can compare how their units fared versus mine, especially their range units. I know they're cheaper, I would imagine they're cheaper. Wolf Riders, I want ranged. So yeah, the Wolf Riders were 375, that was definitely not worth it. Wolf Chariots were 500. And my Carnosaur got shot up by 3 of them. And let's see. I'm just trying to figure out the pricing. Yeah, definitely not worth it. Which leaves, how do I engage them when they have the higher mobility and the skirmisher trait to kind of just keep them running? As that was probably the biggest problem. Or do I just ignore them somehow? I need something to engage them at least, but we saw the Carnosaur couldn't do it because there was too many of them. The Stegodon was eventually able to do it, but with me not being able to buff the rest of my units and debuff the Orcs, more importantly, that was just not worth it just for that alone. Yep, the wreck ships. We need... Sadly, there hasn't been naval battles in a long time, I think, for Total War. A little unfortunate there. I wonder if Skinks is... Well, Skinks don't seem like the answer, right? They would have shields to help absorb a lot of the ranged attacks, but still. It would be easy to incorporate Skinks, though. It's just a question of how many Skinks would be ideal. And I think this is the same person, is it? I'm gonna go with a wild assumption at least. I haven't paid... I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. I don't really pay attention to the names at all. If I'm so honest. But I like to think this is decent. It's again the question, how do I deal with mobility? Yeah, naval battles would be fun. And I'm curious, speed. I know I definitely could not outrun. Only my Carnosaur is like the fastest unit that I have. And as we saw, it got crushed mainly because of the focus firing. If only I need to make better judgment calls, essentially. And I kind of forgot about the Carnosaur a little bit. But I don't want all my units kind of bunched up in a death ball either, ideally. As that's kind of what the Stegodon is what I want to do with the Stegodon. Just have it stay with the army. That way it can buff as needed. Same with the Temple Guard. Have them maneuver. Carnosaur is my T-Rex. Cold One Riders are the kind of like the Raptors. The heavily armored Raptors. I'll explain them to you once it loads to give you a better idea. Because I have a friggin' T-Rex. As far as magic, it is called the Heavens Magic, which is all about lunar, celestial type stuff, but primarily I'm fielding buffs and a debuff spell. So here's my army here. My main front line are the Saurus, which are just regular dinosaurs, regular lizards. Then my Skink Priest is on the Stegodon. He's my spellcaster. He's the one going to be casting spells, and I'm going to use him as a battering ram, ideally to help the infantry out. My lore is on a Cold One, which is this raptor dinosaur creature here. It's my cavalry unit. And this is my big, beefy Carnosaur. He's considered anti-large, kind of another monster fighter. But he's kind of, in comparison to all the other units, he's kind of an all-rounder, basically, I think, for the price and the stats. Then otherwise, there's my actual Cold One riders down here, but I need to be quick, because my opponent's not going to wait for me. And then I'll talk more about my army when it's deployed. And I gotta be mindful of my formation a bit, because if they're too tight, that's gonna leave me open to spells to hit me. And Temple Guard are like elite infantry. They're basically like the bodyguards to the leaders of the Lizardmen. But they're armor piercing. They're good at taking out heavily armored targets, where my Saurus warriors are more like a tank, essentially. At least in comparison. Now, actually, I think I just put these guys in the same group, or in these separate groups, and just rearrange everything else a little bit. Chameleon skinks are just actuals. They're quite literally chameleons, just humanoid chameleons. And they're sneaky, they're slippery, and they are going to be my frontline scouts, and I have 40 seconds to deploy. And I'm facing high elves. Let's keep that in mind. And because my Skink Priest is on a mount, that could be useful here. Or at least it's on a Stegodon. It would be easy to just put them on one of my main groups. But Stegodon I want to use to kind of rampage through the infantry, buffing. Temple Guard is supposed to buffer or take out anything that's troublesome. Ideally, the Chameleon Skinks just deal with any flyers. And Cavalry deal with their vulnerable units, ideally. If possible. What kind of lord they have? They have a wizard. What kind of wizard? Doesn't want to tell me. They're engaging me. And they're just harassing me with artillery at this point. And actually, let's get the Carnosaur at least moving so it doesn't get freely shot at, ideally. Okay, there's what I was looking for. Phoenixes, flying units. I need to deal with them. I don't know how well I'm going to deal with them, but I'm going to try and deal with them. And they are turning to engage me. Let's keep that in mind. It is less damage, at least. Chameleon Skinks. Yeah, they're shooting my Stegodon. That's fine. And hopefully the poison will help cripple them some. Alright, Temple Guard, you go in there. And dang it, these units aren't engaging like I want them to. Go in there. I should be able to deal with the spears easily enough. And I am debuffing them. And I do have Halberdiers helping. Now let me actually debuff them. But they are going to fly away in a moment. But I think we could do a lot of damage here. So long as I can keep hitting them, they can't fly away. It's just a question of not doing overkill. Yeah, the Temple Guard did their job, because the Lord got crippled hard. I just wish I had used my abilities properly. Skink Priest hit that Lord. Ah, dang it. I thought he flew away, silly me. That was a mistake. I saw the phoenix flying up and I thought... Oh, hold that thought. Where's my Carnosaur? Just about to rush down these guys. It was still good damage, and my chameleon skinks are just gonna chase after their lord. It's gonna cripple them, poison them, which most importantly just slows them. And I'm hoping I can deal with their ranged units right now. Actually, you backstab them, do the hammer and anvil as they call it. Cavalry hit the back, and while the units in front tank. Now, Carnosaur, you come help me, please, and Stegodon, buff my lord. Let's make this short work of them. Yeah, take out the Phoenix there quickly. Carnosaur's rampaging, that can be a bit problematic. But the Phoenix is dying. Jeez, these guys are taking a lot of damage. Oh, their wizard is actually a healer. He's getting healed right now to Lord. If you want to understand what's happening there. I recognize it because of the audio effect. But keep poisoning. And try and route, or get my Carnosaur back in order. Because now he's routed at the moment. Okay, they're healing the Phoenix. Although Phoenix sadly got to fly. But again, still harassing it, still damaging it. Where's my lord right now? Because dang it. Their lord managed to get away, but... And these are their elite units, are they? Yeah, Swordmasters, which are flexible melee units. Oh, dang it, I want to buff my charge effect. I just wish there was a hotkey for it, but... I think I'm gonna lose this still. They're completely broken. Unless I could stop that Phoenix right now. Chameleon Skinks are still doing well, but again, everything is breaking now. Oh, turn the audio levels up some? I can do that. And the Phoenix just healed itself, damn it, because of its dang reborn trait. That is unfortunate. Yeah, let's get you out of here. Nope, no, you're routed. It seems like a good time, a good battle, but... considering most of their units are still full health, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. As I did get to engage their dang skirm. I know they're hybrid fighters. I don't know who those were. Which one? It wasn't the Lothran Sea Guard, was it? They have spears. Yeah, they had spears. That's why I didn't do the damage I need to, because they counteract my charge defense. I should have ignored them and went after the bolt throwers. Because as you can see, the one Sea Guard I charged earlier with my cold ones got demolished. I guess I could turn up the audio levels. It's just a question of how much. Because it's very easy for this to get a little loud. Hopefully that's notably better. It was literally 1 pip up. But yeah, I think I know what happened there with my Cold One Riders, sadly. And that was a bad judgment call. It's just real... Let me just demonstrate what might have happened there. I believe their wizard was the Wizard of Life. And as a result, they had regrowth, which heals their units, which is one of the effects they were doing on their lord. And then they have Earthblood, which I think is an AoE heal. Unique factions, we got Beastmen, we got Bretonnia, which is the medieval knights. We got Dark Elves, which are pretty much what you would expect. We have Dwarves, we have Empire, which is like the Napoleon era type of humans, with some really wacky and crazy type of weaponry. But as far as appearance and all that, they're very similar to that type of Napoleonic era. In their garment and all that, at least. But again, they have ridiculous stuff. They have demi-griffs. They have griffins basically as their cavalry. They have Hell Blasters, which is basically a Gatling gun. They have Hellstorm rockets. They have a friggin' steam tank. A lot of ridiculous stuff there. The sub-factions, all they really do is just unlock the unique lords, the legendary lords for you. But you have access to everything else. That's the only downside to them, so maybe you can change your appearance. If you don't mind being a sub-faction, and your army doesn't depend solely on having a unique legendary lord. You only get access to the legendary lord of that faction. Like Alberic de Boliar, however you pronounce it. He's the legendary lord for the Bordelux. I don't know how to pronounce that, damn it. I picked the wrong faction to give it as an example. But we have Empire, we have of course the Orcs, or the Greenskins as they're called here, High Elves, we have the Lizardmen, which I was playing as, we have Norska, which are basically Vikings, Skaven, which are the rat people, swarming rats, we have Vampire Counts, which are undead vampires, we have Vampire Coasts, which I do not have unlocked, we have the Tomb Kings, which are Egyptian undead, which I don't have unlocked either. And of course we have the Warriors of Chaos. As you would expect. Norska, the Vikings. They're very rush and very aggressive type of faction from what I understand. But back to what I was wondering. Those were the Lots and Sea Guards. Yeah, that explains why I had issue there. Not only do they do additional damage against large because of their spears, but they also counteract my charge bonus, which I do additional damage on my charge when I engage them. That's probably where my mistake was, sadly. I should not have gone after them. It's still a question. I probably still would have lost that horribly, wouldn't I? It's really hard to know how close that truly was, especially with their archers almost all being full health still. And the one archer I went up against took almost no damage. It's really hard to judge how that went for me. It felt good with the ridiculous amount of damage I did to their Lord and their Phoenix right off the bat. I just made very minor mistake and let the Lord get away. It probably still would have gotten away, to be honest, but if I kept hitting it, it would not have been able to fly at least. That was the idea, and that would have made a big difference. Yeah, it's hard for me to notice the ammo count. I was looking more at the health bar because that's more obvious and stands up more. And this is the high health opponent from before. Same fella. Do I want to try with the Slan? Mix up a tiny bit? It's just a question, how would this help me? As I don't really have big stompy creatures. I don't know about army composition though. My Temple Guard did take a lot of damage though. If I was faster, gave my Lord and my Cold One Riders to intercept the Phoenix and Lord, they at least would have probably been around half health. As I buffed the Stegodon too is what happened. I did not see they changed that they were attacking the Temple Guard, the buff. I'm gonna give this a try there and then we'll move on to something else, at least for the time being. This is gonna be harder because I need to learn how to use this army. I just don't have as many monstrous creatures this time around. But I do have a life slan, which again is going to do healing for my army ideally. AoE healing, I hope, is going to be on my main frontline warriors if I can get the majority of them hit with it. And then my big single target one's going to hit my lord and my more powerful creatures. That's a thought, at least. And I didn't pay attention to the map to kind of account for that, but let's see how we do. I only know there's structures here, and I kind of don't want to go through the middle because that'll separate my army a bit. Although, for some reason, the timer is resetting there. Now, I think I just go over on the left here. Just to avoid the structures a bit. I don't know what kind of... They're probably going to have the same kind of army. I do have two skink skirmishers to help harass, but I don't think I want my skink skirmishers going after them. As you get bonus damage against large, my salamanders. And they have slightly more range. Chameleon skinks, I think I'm going to use more for what they're supposed to do and just skirmish and harass. We'll see if this is a mistake or not. Now, my Slan, my big toad, is my lord this time. And as I said, he is my spellcaster, he is my healer. He is gonna keep things alive if I can keep using his spells. But otherwise, he's just a floating guy who needs protection. And that's kind of what my Regiment of Renown here, the Star Chamber Guardians, are going to be for. They give him a damage resistance if they stay near him, and they're just all that much more powerful than my regular Temple Guard. And I have a Skink Chieftain as well, who's going to be flying around and harassing. But if they're bringing the same units as before, it's going to be tricky to do that. Now, Skinks are set. Croxagores are at the ready. And I gotta be quick. Where do I put the Croxagores, I'm wondering? And I forgot to mention the Bastildon, who's also going to be doing AoE healing. It's a smaller dinosaur than the Stegodon, but it's going to serve the same purpose. On top of the fact it can also heal my units. Is this an AoE heal though, or just targets a single unit is what I'm unsure about. Alright, let me actually get this done, because time is limited. I think we're set. Just gotta remember my lord, who does not have Vanguard deployment. Fingers crossed I could do better somehow, as this looks very similar to what it was before. Chameleon Skinks are going in. I don't know how realistic they can engage the artillery. And they just wrecked the Lord, which is why I need to micromanage this a bit. But, again, I can heal him. Is it really necessary to heal this early, though? Bastildon's taking hits. And I don't think I even need a turnaround, but... Oh, dang it, I forgot to move you, didn't I? That was a bit of a waste, because you're kind of the most important thing for this army. Now, let's get to damaging this thing somehow. And if I can cripple him, that'd be good, but... Now let me just heal this thing, because it probably is near right now. And you can outrun them, hopefully, and then they just get shot horribly, but... Chameleon Skinks, hopefully you're doing damage. I know you're set on skirmish, so this is probably not going to work very well. And salamanders are getting wrecked right now. Yeah, they're just wrecking my stuff at the moment. And skinks are just getting crushed by the cavalry, because I turned off their skirmisher mode. And if they're going to charge me, hopefully I could do some good damage to them, right? But now I gotta figure out where my AoE heal's gonna go. Try and get these engagements going, but these guys are gonna get wrecked. Because these are just getting shot by artillery, and I haven't even done any damage to their friggin' artillery. Unfortunately. I can heal the Bastildon a bit and get it healing. They broken. That's probably the best I could ask for, but... Yeah, one of my skinks have been completely routed at the moment. Actually, Crux Gorge, you just keep smashing them. Star Chamber Guardians are winning their fight, but they're away from the Lord at the moment. Now, AoE heal these 3 squads for me, please. Now, swarm this friggin' Lord. Do what you can against this army here, ideally. And Bastildon, just go straight for artillery, please. Chamber Guardians are in. I'm about to get an AoE heal on my group, which hopefully will be pretty good. Bastildon, I want you to get through the spearmen, but sadly, you don't have enough mass. This is what it's looking like. I want you to charge the range weaponry. AoE heal everything in here now. Although I don't think I have the durability, sadly. Unless the Star Chamber Guardians are doing their work. It's hard to tell in this mess. Oh. Get in there. Bastildon. My chieftain's back. I forgot about him. So are my salamanders. Now, there's one spell I forgot about, which we're going to cast right now. Banishment. Let's see how this does. And see if it does what's needed. Nice little vortex to just murder everything. Oh yeah, I didn't realize it actually gone a random direction. That could have been a mistake. Alright, heal some more. Go after a lord, he's broken. Yeah, the 2 idle units. I noticed that there. I'm a little late to notice your message, but... Yeah, just attack the lord there. And if possible, get the salamanders on these lords too. Alright, Bastildon is back. I want to heal the Bastildon. You know, it can't heal itself, so just heal the Skink Priest. And the stupid Phoenix is regenerating itself. And now I have no way to fight it, but I do have the Skink Priest, or the Chameleon Skinks to help. But yeah. Let me group everyone together, because I need AoE heal. Actually, these guys could just win this fight over here. I have enough health on them for that. But what I'm hoping to do is just group everyone up for a big AoE heal. But it's not working out very well. I did not plan this out the best, I will admit. Now, if this Phoenix could stop regenerating its health, that would be kind of nice. Yeah, they're broken. The Croc scores are berserking, but... there. Although, again, it's a question of what went right. What went right, what went wrong there? Because you figure I could have won this in the last battle, too. Although, I forgot I have to actually save these. It doesn't actually auto-save it for me. Well, that's just possibly emphasizing that my previous army is bad, or the Life Priest is just overpowered, considering how badly that started off, I would argue. And look at the damage there. 12,000 damage and 3,200 points worth of gold in the damage value. Star Chamber Guardians did work. 800 gold. Let's see, 900 gold. 600 gold. Yeah, all my Source frontline warriors got their money back and then some. And then sadly, one of my Chameleon Skinks got completely murdered, but the other one helped paid off for it. You're just a lackluster one because you got isolated and forgotten about. Croc scores, I think, paid for themselves. And not really a Bastildon, but again, Bastildon was healing. Yeah, the heal replenishes troops and some of them will actually resurrect fallen units too. So it's not like there's a cap most of the times with some of the spells. I'll try and show you a little bit more with that army. I'm glad I won, but it's still a confusing mess. There's the the Revivification Crystal that the Bastildon has. It's only a single target, so ideally I want to use this on my Skink Priest or my Elite units, it looks like. For some reason I thought it was an AoE heal. But it has a really long cooldown still. But that did work. And my Slan, there was Banishment that I forgot about and used near the end. Probably could have got more value out of it, but it hit the artillery, it hit the Lothran Sea Guards. It was kind of worth it. And this is my big regrowth spell. Was a regrowth spell. Not only does it regenerate a bunch of health, but it gets rid of their fatigue, which is what the figure is. So they're no longer being debilitated by being exhausted, which can be really good for example, my Star Chamber Guardians, which you saw how ridiculous they did in damage already. Now just refresh them, or even my other warriors, and they're doing work. So Croc scores were 1,000, Bastildon was 1,000, so almost everything did pay for itself. Outside maybe my hunting pack. It wasn't bad. Oh, and I forgot about Arcane Conduit too, dang it. There's a lot I'm slipping on. But doing my commentary is probably what's hurting me too a little bit. Yeah, the reason he was sitting there is because he had the spears, which are more of a defensive unit, as the charged defense against spears only works if you're standing still. Let's see, charged defense against all It will remove their charge bonus, which just straight up increases their damage and their melee attack, which is how likely they are to hit. But you need to be standing still and bracing for it to work, which is part of the reason why they were standing there. And keep in mind they had artillery. They were very range centric in their army. With that, and because of that, I was the aggressor and they were the defender in that matchup. As they had two of these Eagle Claw bolt throwers, which can change their ammo to be a single missile, I think, or like an anti-infantry one with a cluster of arrows or missiles. Yeah, multi-shot round. And I think they could change. Yeah, they could change their type, but oh, yeah, this is the mode that allows them to go to multi-shot, and their current mode that they start off with is really good against large single creatures. It's versatile that way. And then they had the Lothran Sea Guards. Where are they? Yeah, Lothran Sea Guards with shields here. They are almost expensive as my frontline warriors. Keep that in mind. And they're a hybrid unit too. So they're a little bit weaker as a result of that. Let's see. How do they compare to regular archers? Because you can see the stat differences there. The ones I'm hovering over have less leadership, but they do the exact same weapon damage, but they're cheaper, so that's something to keep in mind. And also the archers here with the armor have more shots. And keep in mind, these are you're paying a little bit more to give these guys extra armor too. The true spamming, what is it, the ones you want to spam for true range damage would be these guys at almost half price. So they spent a lot more for a very versatile unit that's also good against charges. Basically, they're an archer unit that can defend themselves. You don't need to babysit them, which helps a lot for micromanagement, which is probably why they made the army like they did. And then of course the Phoenix. Can I even see the Phoenix here? This cursed thing. 1,300. Where is it? Yeah, that stupid rebirth. It regenerates a bunch of its health, but there's a 50% chance it just dies, it looks like, when that activates. But that was the Phoenix they used on me. And then their Lord. I don't know if it was a legendary Lord like Tyrion or Teclis, but I'm gonna assume it was just a regular prince, who just had a great eagle here. Not very expensive, but very fast, apparently. Or they could have got the friggin' dragon, which would have been terrifying as well. Slowly but surely, I'm starting to learn the nuances of their army. Big question though, are we gonna get the same person again, or not? Even bigger question, do I go with that same army again, or do I play with Skaven some? Just to try out what a range army looks like. That was on... Yep, it looks like it's a different one, so maybe we'll try again, but let's watch to see what army they are. I'm still going to play Skaven, but I'll just switch to my Queek Head Taker one. Alright, Vampire Counts. This is going to be interesting because they have literally no ranged weapons with the vampires. But they are undead, and the unique trait about that is if their leadership goes down, instead of running away, they just fall apart, but they still keep fighting. Skaven lore, they are just the vermin underground. They, from what I understand, they were mutated by warpstone, a kind of like rare element that I guess is connected to the warp in some way. I don't claim to know any of the Skaven lore. This is only what I know in passing and just guessing. But the Skaven have been mutated and fueled and powered by this warpstone essentially. They are basically a plague and vermin that lives almost entirely underground. So the majority of the world doesn't even know they exist. And they are a lot of the reason why the fantasy world has a lot of plagues and pestilent in the world, outside of course Nurgle's influence. But they're not actually directly controlled by chaos or the chaos gods. But they do have a deity in the Horned Rat, which I guess is perceived to be a chaotic demon. That is who they idolize and worship and follow, basically. It might as well be. It is a corrupting element, but it also is what mutates and empowers the Skaven too. And they use it for almost all their weaponry as well. Either way, I have 200 gold. Let's see, I have Magic Missile, which is really good against the Lord, and I only get 2 shots of it though. We'll have to make it count in that case. And Chieftain, you're just going to be bodyguard because you got damage resistant for my Lord. But that's probably the rough gist of it there. There are definitely different clans, as made apparent by Clan Skyrie here. There's Clan Pestilent, who love to plague and spraying it. There's Clan Moor, which is kind of more military focused, I guess. It seems like it. Clan Skyrie is all about weaponry and technology, I guess. Clan Moldor is about mutating and experimentation on themselves using Warpstone. A lot of their monstrous creatures are a spawn of Clan Mordor's doing. They even have a ridiculous looking Hell Pit Abomination that has like 7 different rat heads on top of a head that you can't even understand what it looks like. They have some ridiculous creatures there, including the rat ogres, which are kind of like stitched together abominations of multiple rats, it seems, as well as being buffed by Warpstone. There's a lot of hills, a lot of woods here for flanking, but they are vampire count. And vampire counts do not have range weaponry, that's all I could tell you in this sense. But I do need to protect my units a little bit, as they could still have vanguard units that could flank. Some of the rats from Vermintide, well, you're going to see Rattling Gunners, that's for sure. Warplock Jezzails, where do I put you? Well, this looks like the perfect spot for you, but it's a question. Does that put you above everything? Sort of. It sort of puts you above everything, which is why I'm going to put these clan rats here, I think. Just to be a buffer, just to be a thorn in their side. And Storm Vermin are just going to protect and respond to any big threats coming. Yep, there are woods to conceal, but I don't really have big playmakers. Besides, my Death Runners already are kind of hidden. I just gotta learn to use them this time. And I want my Rattling Gunners in good spots for shooting, which is going to be tricky, because again, they need to fire directly at them.
Rattling gun. Clan rats.
Clan rats. Yeah, you just crisscross will have these Rattling Gunners in a gap there to kind of be able to freely shoot. I don't want them too tight a formation though, because then they're going to be vulnerable to spells. Skaven slaves with spears, they're self-explanatory. They're to hopefully deal with any cavalry and large units that might try and flank. I don't think I'm happy with this formation though. I'm just more trying to think how I can actually use my gunners to full effect though. Let me get my control groups now. Alright, group 1 there. Group 2. There, I think we're set. We have 16 seconds and I gotta watch for flanking potential. Yeah, they'd probably be good on the flank. I could they are pretty mobile, so maybe they can be positioned a little bit better too, but hoping the Rattling Gunners are not in the best spot, but they are to come to me. As I don't think they have any, again, they don't have range weaponry. They do have a dragon here. I'm just curious, is that going to try and gank my lord? Sadly, my catapults aren't able to shoot at them the best, but keep an eye out for... Nope, let's switch your group there. I don't know what I can actually gank, though, with the Death Runners. That's a bit of a problem here. You're a White King, and it looks like you're on a mount as well. Okay, I know what I want. I want the Death Runners to come back and help deal with the Lord, maybe. Although I don't think they'll be able to. Now, Halberdiers, I want you over here to help deal with the monstrous creatures. Okay, monstrous creature there. Be mindful of that. I don't know what I can target that is a good candidate for my Death Runner, though. Alright, get these guys going here. Probably. And actually, I gotta get my control groups figured out because I'm not doing a good job of that. And my yeah, I don't know again what to do with my Death Runner right now. But Halberdiers are taking out the monstrous creature. If I can get these Jezzails in position, that'd be great. Now, where's my Death Runner? Because I'm hoping I'm winning. Yeah, they're falling apart. They're crumbling right now. But I don't think I need 2 squads of Halberdiers for them. Yeah, they were concealed, so there's that problem. Now, is there a way I could just obliterate these things right now? This would be great if I could. 2, 1. Probably not nearly as much damage as it could have been. And Death Runners are not really in a good position to really be useful here. Halberdiers. We do have Gunners in the front line, which helps some. And just cripple the infantry here, and I gotta remember I got friggin' spells that I could benefit off of. Although I think I'm hitting my Death Runners at the moment because of that. I think well, I gotta keep in mind, yeah, my Rattling Gunners are probably my main weapon, and they're kind of being protected at the moment. I just hope they're not shooting at the proper target, though. They're very fickle in their targeting. Alright, they're crushing them. They're about to fall apart. Halberds are busy fighting the cavalry. My catapults are still fighting. Or at least they're still intact, right? I'm trying to remember what hotkey I have them. Oh, they routed, so I gotta get them back on said catapult. Jezzail's routed, but they'll be back in a moment. And I gotta remember I can root these things too, which doesn't really matter at the moment. I just gotta remember my friggin' hotkeys. I'm getting a little overwhelmed at the moment. But yeah, my Rattling Gunners are about to do alright, because these horsemen are about to die. And my Rattling Gunners are still in good shape, but... And I just rooted you, so... I think... Oh, you just can't fly anymore. Can the Rattling Gunners just shoot you right now? I don't think it's possible right now, but... Somehow... We're winning this fight. Even though they got the perfect flank on there, and I was kind of... And dang it, I had to use this on this thing, and it did nothing. Because this is supposed... Howling Warp Gale's supposed to keep flyers from moving, which is a great combination with my Rattling Gunners. And the Rattling Gunners are shooting this thing right now. So, obliterate that. Yeah, they're about to die right now. And I guess the Death Runners, well, we're gonna have to see how much damage they actually did, though. But hopefully I got my money's worth out of them, because that felt really awkward. Now, with that one creature gone, time to deal with the Lord. And you cannot fly. This is a no-fly zone. Enjoy that. Enjoy all that DACA. Because he died immediately. Keep in mind, that was the Lord, arguably the most powerful unit, that just melted there. And apparently he did a ridiculous amount of damage for just floating there for a while. Let's see. Yeah, gray bar is morale. Let's see, brown is ammo, yes. And red, green, red is the health bar. For some reason I see as red. Wow, maybe I did do a lot of damage with Ikit Claw, because it seemed like those spells didn't do a whole lot. Oh, that might explain it, because they were attacking Blood Knights, which are probably the most powerful cavalry in the game. The frame rate wasn't dropping on my end, but... Oh, I did lose some frames. It says I lost a total of 1,300 frames. I don't know if it was in that one battle or not, I apologize. And sadly, the Death Runners did absolutely nothing. Mainly because I didn't know what to actually go after. Having them fight the cavalry seems like a bad idea. I want to argue. I apologize. It wasn't really dropping on my end. It's entirely possible it was the stream hiccuping. The Rattling Gunners survive. Dang it, I can't go back and see that, can I? On the damage they did. There's no history for battle, is there? Even if I were to save that, it would not show how the Rattling Gunners did. I apologize. They survived, though. That's the main thing. And this is the same fellas before. Do we want to go with the Rattlings again? That is the honest question, or do we mix it up? I am leaving it to you there. I know you seem enthusiastic for the Rattling Gunners, so you're probably going to want more of them. Would be my guess. Oh, they're changed. Okay, they're going Vampire Coast. This will be fun. Vampire Coast, unlike the Vampire, the Vampire Counts are all about ranged weaponry. We're gonna have ourselves a bit of a showdown, which makes me worry they're just gonna go ridiculous on the artillery and ranged weaponry, which means I might have to be the aggressor. Since after all, they know this person knows what my army is now. Or at least they're going to go with that assumption. And if they go all artillery, I'm going to have problems. I could just go with my rush army and screw them over, but... I don't know how you get past people who... Because it's really easy for me to just change my army, especially if I have pre-made armies, keep that in mind. It seems like this could be a little bit ridiculous. I see him going Vampire Coast, I could probably switch to Beastmen or something aggressive. I see him go Dwarves or something, well, I don't know how to play against Dwarves yet. But I'll probably go something mobile or something that could punish their lack of mobility. Yep, he's going to bring zombie ships onto a land fight somehow. More than likely. But yeah, I could see that getting a little bit ridiculous. I could go Bretonia maybe and just get nothing but cavalry to deal with his weaponry. Especially if he is also metagaming me, thinking that I'm going to use the exact same army. Although he might change his mind once he sees me change my army, so if I really want to trick him, I would have to make a new army under Clan Skyrie, which is probably a lot of the reason why a lot of people don't even bother with the sub-factions, because you have more flexibility that way, and they have no way to know if you're changing your army roster. It's a little bit silly here, I won't lie. And ultimately, it just comes down to the mind games. Because yeah, I could just wait for him to ready up, couldn't I? And then just switch at the last second maybe? If it would even let me do that. We'll see how this goes. Since after all, they don't seem to have... I don't know if they're good at their controlled or micromanagement, since they let my halberdiers just wail on their flyer when it dived down. And thankfully I did move them ahead of time in preparation. And apparently my Skaven slaves with spears were able to fend off their dang cavalry. At least the cavalry they were fighting. For I don't really have anything as good against large creatures besides my storm vermin, and again, they were busy fighting the flyers. They were nowhere near where the cavalry were, arguably. I hope I gave them enough time, because I could have been a real dick and just ready up immediately if they were going to switch it up. And then they would only have a minute, 2 minutes to build a custom-made army or a meta army. Either way. And it looks like I'm losing more frames, dang it. Yeah, possibly, but that's also another reason why you probably don't deal with sub-factions. Because the legendary lords make a lot of those type of army compositions work too. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be a hilly fight, which is going to be bad for my Rattling Gunners. Potentially. No. Well, my Rattling Gunner, yeah. This is a King of the Hill type of fight. I should have looked at the map, because this would have been perfect for sort of rushing, I guess. And where can I put my Death Runner? I don't even think I need to put them in the trees, because they're already stalking. I'm just having a hard time deploying them right now, because this is the border of the map. I just don't know how I'm going to deploy my army, with that said. High ground is good, so maybe I go over here. Gotta be careful of hugging the corner map. There are downsides to hugging it. If I could be behind the woods, maybe that's useful. So long as I can shoot over them. I'm just expecting this to be a silly long-range fight, though. That is the feeling I'm getting there. And I can't deploy over there anymore, so we're going here. I might have to move my artillery up some. If for some reason my frame rate's continuing to drop. I don't know why that is. And I apologize for that. The local recordings should be unaffected though, that I'm going to post over onto YouTube. I'm hoping at least. Oh yeah, these are spears I kind of want them to protect, even though they're not really the best at protecting my flank, let's be honest. They're just there to be annoying and be a buffer. Although, This is like a terrible formation, I think, too, still. But it's a formation nonetheless, we'll go with it. Now, where do I put my Jezzails? As they would love to be up on the hill. It's just a question, can they get up the hill without being shot at? Again, this is where paying attention to the map can be a big deal for me. And I do need storm vermin to protect the catapults, or at least prepared. And thankfully they can hide in the woods, which is useful there. But I think the plan is I'm going to move up there, try to get the high ground, and hopefully that's not a terrible mistake. Since again, I don't know anything about the Vampire Coast, and I'm left wondering what to expect here. But I think I want my gunners over on the flank, at least somewhat protected by the halberdiers, or halberds, and everything else. Aww. Well, that was a letdown. Yeah, 2 mortars, Queen Bess, 3 artillery weapons. That was a little unfortunate. And I'm still dropping frames, and I don't know why. Let me just try and reset the stream. Give me a moment. I'm still doing my local recording, so that should be fine for the YouTube version. Hopefully. Well, let's see how we're doing. The stream is up. We are looking good. And so far, no drop frames. Let's continue on. Try for 1, maybe 2 more matches. Especially after that letdown. Actually, what I might do is I'll try make a custom army or another faction there after this match. And give that a try. Just more to explain my thought process for making an army for multiplayer. I don't expect to do any good with it, especially if it's going to be a completely different faction. But I wonder what happened to my opponent there. We just got ourselves a forfeit for some reason, and I don't know why. And I saw that icon just change on me. I'm hopefully not going crazy, but we'll try and play around with a bit more rats. It is honestly a question. Do I even need that many clan rats? Or should I just go with more heavier muscle like the storm vermin to help tank? I kind of like the clan rats and the Skaven slaves because the Skaven slaves are expendable, which means they don't cause morale damage for fleeing or when they're getting killed. As at least morale damage to everyone else. Kind of like how, well, in the same kind of manner as how when ships are destroyed or fleeing, it causes a morale hit in Battlefleet Gothic in a sense. Either way, I am hoping to try and do a bunch of streaming there on the weekend ideally, and hopefully we'll have a nice variety of matches with that said. Hopefully. I'm just going to keep an eye on the time. Hopefully I'll have time for 2 more matches. There we go. Just don't disconnect on me, or whatever happened. Yo, you want to see the boys, do you? That can be done. Oh god, are they really going to go Bretonnians? They were already selected as Bretonnians when I saw them. Although it looks like they're going friggin' dwarves. This will be amusing. This will certainly be amusing. Will I have enough firepower to force them to come to me? I kind of would like... This is where the metagame comes in. I kind of want to get another catapult. I'm not gonna lie, will it even allow me another catapult? I could have up to 5 of them. And if they're gonna go dwarves, I could get away with it too. What would I be comfortable cutting out, though? I'm thinking the Jezzails, but they're really good against shielded units because of the shield breaker. Rattling Gunners could be good. What do I cut out? Actually, is there spells that can change? I could cut out the Brass Orb. Since this is kind of a snare thing and they're resistant to spells, let's keep in mind too. I kind of want to try and debilitate them a bit. And I only don't have them a lot of time either. Let's... And they don't have large creatures. Almost there. I don't know what to cut. I could drop that. Actually, let's cut this out. Get another catapult. I don't know if this is worth it, but this could be fun. It could work against dwarves pretty well. It does cut out a couple of Skaven slaves, but that's not a real loss. And Icked Claw is now really affordable with all those spells dropped. And keep in mind that I just read your joke there on that large creature comment. Dwarves are just naturally resistant to spells, so I can't really rely on that to be as effective. The sad truth of the matter is almost all my stuff, because it's warp powered, is basically spell damage or magical damage. So I kind of need that extra catapult to help offset that anyway. Nice open field. I am curious about slopes and height. Because I can have my catapults just hanging back here. Oh, I can only deploy back here. Wow, I thought I can deploy further forward, silly me. But I think the catapults would be good back here. We just gotta spread them out so that way, if someone does get on them, it doesn't tie all the catapults up. I think we're just gonna get ourselves a nice long-range firefight. I don't know if I'm excited for that or not. Because then it just comes down to who has better range weaponry, honestly. And if they have more, then I'm probably forced to be the aggressor. I do have Death Runners to help, though. It's just, if they are playing super turtly, how am I going to isolate them for that to really work? Okay, Skaven Slaves. You could just spot for me, basically, in case vision's a problem. That's what I'm just going to do with them. Just have them run up and get shot at, basically. Nothing fancy that needs to be said. Now, Rattling Gunners, I don't know what to do with you, because that's always a problem trying to figure out how to place you. Although I could just move you forward. That would make my life a little bit easier. And I don't know about the Jezzails. Which... they're probably just hanging back here, maybe, in the trees and just being pretty. They're not concealed. Actually, they could just hide in these trees and just shoot everything, right? Although I'm worried that they're just... I'm worried that the hill's just gonna limit what they can see. Come on, you can hide in trees, it's not that difficult. There, took you long enough. I just want to find that sweet spot forward. So that way, the trees aren't obscuring my own shots when I use them. And I can use the Death Runner to kind of spot for me, so I don't even need the slaves to kind of give me vision. I don't want to be too ridiculously forward, because if they have stuff in the corner, I'm going to be in trouble. I think I'm fine going here. Actually, I might want to go over here, because at least then I can see a little bit better. Where do I put these guys? I'm wondering. A Battlefield Gothic campaign would be fun in multiplayer. It could be. That's kind of what co-op is, but I don't know what you mean. Would the enemies also be in the campaign? Oh, PvP campaign? Alright. Let's rotate everything. They got gyrocopters. Now I'm worried about their range. 440. And they're just boxing themselves. We got the dwarf box. Oh well, we could take our time. There's no need to rush, but... because I could pummel these things. I could pummel their front line really well, but they're just boxing. Strap yourselves in for a really long match. All I need to do is just sit in front of the range of the catapults, although they have more range than me. And I am concealed, but I don't want my Death Runners getting spotted or anything like that. And we'll see if the Rattling Gunners can do something. I have enough range I can at least cripple their infantry and force them out of their comfort zone some. Now, what do I do with the Jezzails? Oh, well, that makes my job easier.
Now, ready, now! Death Runners! Very good. Move! Rattling gun! Screen recap trick! What?
Are they spotted? Yeah, they're spotted at the moment, but... hopefully you could shoot the friggin' gyrocopter. That would be really nice.
Ready, ready!
And hopefully my catapults could do some damage here. No, I don't need you shooting at that, ideally.
Agreed. Yes, yes.
I'm surprised they didn't shoot the gyrocopter, the Jezzails, but because they're concealed, they probably had to give them an order.
We obey. Death Runners.
Alright.
What orders?
I'm gonna need to move the Jezzails into a nice protective position for the... and if we can shoot this thing down, that would be nice. I did not consider they would have air units though. So sadly I cannot snare them in place, but I could shoot them really nicely in a moment.
Ready? Our tail's yours. Rattling gun. Claw catapult. Stab, stab. Faster, scurry.
Nope, now I'm just got in range of the cannons, or I mean range of all the cannons at the moment. gotta be mindful of that.
Me, what's boss? Go, run, go!
Although they're shooting they're shooting me right now, so I'm... I don't have much of a choice, but I think I'm gonna have to engage their cannons. And sadly, I don't have Fermentide to kind of trouble them.
Go on. Move! Very good, master.
But if I could damage them, that's pretty good, but... Can the Jezzails start peppering these things?
For the Vermintide!
And actually, since their cannons are more clumped up than mine, so maybe I can get some good collateral splash damage in,
Advance forward!
if I'm really lucky.
Hurry! Rattling gun!
It's just hard to tell when I'm in range of their archers. But that's my thought process, just cripple all their cannons, especially when they're clumped like that, because I'm hitting two different armies now.
Scotty, race! Dodge, fail. Retreat!
So I did lose one of my cannons, but I'm doing some decent damage here, and I'm about to shoot these guys, right?
Faster, Scotty! Death runners! Quick, fast!
Yeah, shoot them down. Like flies that they are, although my Death Runners are not doing very well. Let me just cripple them as much as I can. I thought maybe this would be a good idea, but it's just because they have slightly more range than me. This is a bit problematic. I wonder what my Jezzails are doing. Oh no, I took out the Jezzails, did I? No, they're here. What the... I'm wondering what the heck they're shooting at then. I thought I could cast a spell there, but the spell failed to cast because I moved out of the way at a bad time. Alright, get everyone else in there. I gotta get these guys back in their cannons, or the cannons have been destroyed, so... Not able to do that anymore. I'm sadly losing that range fight. And... gonna have to see how I can make this work, because now... I did cripple their stuff, but... Isn't enough damage, though. You go after them. Sadly, catapults can't do anything, but... Nope, I didn't want that, but... Let me see if I could do some damage there. And I'm in my own way, too, before the Rattling Gunners, which is a little problematic. But if they could shoot the air units, that's still pretty decent. Get the chieftain in there. And if I can flamethrower something, that would be nice.
To bits.
As the units are being crippled, but now I gotta get the rest of my units in here.
What?
Especially my Death Runners, and they're actually in pretty decent health to kind of clean up whatever's left.
Our title's yours.
They're just maybe in a terrible position. With that said. Yeah, Chieftain is going in to help fight their lord, who's engaging me. And their lord is getting crippled right now. My Skaven slaves are just doing a terrible job of being fodder, though. But maybe if I could kill off their cannons, that'd be good. Can the Rattling Gunners hit these guys? Probably not. Flamethrowers are doing their thing, unfortunately. Because they just wrecked my guys pretty hard. And my Rattling Gunners aren't even hitting their Flamethrowers right now, they're Fire Drakes. And Catapults. And conveniently, they can fire their flames right over their body, which is something I don't get to do with my Rattling Gunners. And you're just being crippled by something, I just don't know what. And what is my Jezzails doing? They are almost in range, but I need them to start killing these Fire Drakes off. Because apparently you're just losing morale for no reason at the moment. How long until I can get a nerf ruin? Not for a while. Why is my catapult not shooting at you, I wonder? And you're about to run out of ammo, sadly. And the Jezzails can preach through their shields pretty well. And still have a decent amount of weaponry. Oh, they're shooting me with the gunners, that's what's going on, is it? So we could fire them, shoot them, that'd be good, but... we're almost there. And this is a nice clump for a Flensing Ruin. Because they're committed to this turtling, and I still got a little bit of weaponry left in me. Maybe I should have focused it a little bit better. I won't lie, I don't know who's the ideal target. And I gotta keep mine, I got a freaking flamethrower on this thing. Let's use it. If they can burn me, I'll burn them. Just as painfully. There. That's something, I guess. Maybe not much, but it's something. And of course they have more of these guys that I wasn't privy to. Okay, I have an idea. I have an idea here. Just use the crew of the previous Utter Plague Claws to just take this one catapult and see if they can swap their ammo. And my lord's just getting crippled, and I don't even see what's hitting him. That is unfortunate. But yeah, that does work. It gave me more ammo. I just did not see these shots, though, is what's annoying. Now, just obliterate these guys somehow. Ideally. Yeah, these are still decent melee combatants, and I don't even think I can win this fight now, sadly. Because I'm just getting shot at right now. They are out of ammo, at least, but with them still having one full squad of dwarves, it's still flame cannons. Options are not good for me. And it's simply because they outranged me just that little bit that forced me to go after the cannons. I couldn't even shoot at the dwarves freely. Because this is a terrible idea. I need some more units to come support. Jasales are out of ammo. And I don't think I'm going to have enough magic to do another ruin. But I can flame these guys on the flank. Which is a good amount of damage still, but... Can the Death Runners do something here? I kind of forgot about them, but at the same time they took a lot of unnecessary damage. And again, their flame drakes... Their flame cannons could just shoot right over their units without even an issue. Wicked Claw's just getting shot at by bullets I can't actually see too, probably. But Deathclaw, maybe they could do something. I know they took a lot more damage than they probably need to, but... They could break out there. Go kill some of those guys. Maybe if I used them better, this would be good, but... Oh, and they just killed my lord right now. Unfortunately. An explosion meant nothing there, wasn't enough damage. I just didn't know how to deal with that. Sadly. And again, if I had a little more range, maybe I could have just outlasted them, but they were shooting my catapults when I thought I was safe from their range, sadly. They were clumped up. In theory, maybe I could have done more damage there, since I was hitting multiple armed units at once with the catapults, but still. I'm just curious about the range. We know these were, well, who am I kidding? We already know the range of theirs is 400. I'm more wondering if, was there a better alternative, a better choice for me? 430 for the Warp Lightning, but they're not really good at infantry. Is a bit of a problem. Don't think that would work very well, sadly. It seemed pretty good, it's just not knowing how to have done that better. It's just unfortunate the Death Runners had to get spotted repeatedly by the gyrocopters. Since they could have done a lot of work there if I had been paying attention a little more. And actually use them a little more properly. And dang it, the fact that their flamethrowers could shoot over their units whereas my gunners couldn't is a bit of a problem there. I don't know how close it ultimately was, never mind the fact that if those were the right kind of spells to even bring. Since if I had if I had that aerial route, I could have done so much damage to those gyrocopters. And that would have limited them quite a bit. Actually, let me just make my one more army. You want orcs? We'll try for orcs. Let's make some greenskins. They like to be aggressive. I don't know who's the best type of hero, though, if I'm completely honest. Maybe I just go for a simple choice. I could bring Grimgor in, the big, heavy fighter himself. Alright, Medoris, thanks for hopping onto the stream. Hopefully it ran a little bit better than before. And let's see, Bloodforged armor, that allows you to get out of the way. That gives you armor piercing potential, but what do we cut? Damage resistance, that's a buff for the army. Debuff for the Lord. Problem is I don't think I can get on the Lord for that to matter. Now let's get some fodder. Who would be good? Do we just go raw damage? Nice. I like the idea of just going raw damage and just rush them down, even though probably a silly idea. Which one is it? The Savage Orcs, I think. Or the damage dealers here. They have damage resistance, they have no armor. And we'll see about having some goblins. Try and harass. They have Vanguard deployment too, I think. Do they have Vanguard deployment? Maybe I can use the Night Goblins for something. But we'll just go with the Savage Boys there. Just go raw rush damage. Since I'm kind of pressed for time anyway. Let's see, these are my main damage dealers. They're not going to last very long. So I'm going to have 2 shield boys to kind of take any frontal charges, ideally. Ideally. I don't know who I want for archers, though. Well, for the chariots seem like probably the simplest to go with. Since they are annoying and they can be effective. We'll go with 2 of those. I don't think I want siege weaponry if I'm going to rush. That's not going to benefit me very much, as it leaves it completely isolated for a lot of trouble. Biggins, they're just heavier damage dealers, basically. But still no armor. What's their stats compare? More health, more leadership, more everything else, though. I got the 2 chariots. Actually, this may have been a terrible idea, because I don't know the first thing of what I want with this army. And let's see. What kind of spells do we get with the shamans? Just orc spells. And that would be depending on what we're up against. Anything to help buff the boys. Here we go, sounds like a fun time. Just buff their melee attacks so they always hit. Ideally. Or that's an area, so that's what I was wondering. Brain Burst. That is just regular AoE damage, I think. Fist of Gork. Imbues magical damage, interesting. But are we good to stick with just these ones here? I like to think so, but let's give you a mount. Give you a mount so hopefully you stay alive a little bit. And I want something that stalks, ideally. Vanguard is nice, but something that stalks would be better. But I think that's tied behind DLC, dang it. And I don't think that's going to help me. Fire Force, Vanguard deployment, fire while moving. Yeah. I think we stick... Yeah, I guess I'm not going to get my stock. We can get Vanguard, but not really stock, though. I just have to hope the night goblins can be positioned in a way they can harass some infantry archers and range units then. Ideally. Just swarm them, rush them down, and hopefully do a bunch of damage. Movement 35, that seems incredibly slow. I'm not gonna lie. I'd rather just go with the Wolf Riders then, dang it. Get some more speed that way to kind of rush. Even though I don't... Do I get Vanguard? Yeah, I do get Vanguard. So that justifies that right there. And they're friggin' cheaper than the Night Goblins too. Now let's get some more boys. Bigger boys, better boys. I don't really have range in the background to support, but that's fine. I guess this was a terrible idea, as this is not a real army. I'm just rushing through it, rather than putting some thought into it. Never mind the fact I wasn't expecting to play Orcs anyway. And then we have a little bit of gold to see how that goes. If I can adjust it a bit. Now it's just a question of how long it'll take for our opponent. This is going to be a terrible idea, I won't lie. This is not going to go well. It's just a ridiculous rush them down type strategy. Maybe if I can get a good surround on them, it might be good. Oh, we'll see what happens. These guys are likely going to die quickly unless they can kill them quickly. Since I don't think I have any real armor-piercing potential, let alone monster-killing potential. I'm kind of tempted to go back to my Lizardman army, I'm not gonna lie. After all that time and effort, only to be made a liar. Oh well, we have some time to think about it at the very least. At least before we get an opponent, maybe. I think that was a decent learning experience still against the dwarf, but it was sloppy. I need to control my units better. Although I do like the idea of I could just literally have my artillery units just swap the cannons, artillery, and just keep shooting that way. Even if they were to get destroyed. That is something I didn't realize I could do. And that definitely can be helpful for long-range artillery fights. It just felt sloppy though. They were just going to shoot down my cannons because they got the first shot. I was doing... Maybe it could have been really good if I had been able to know what to prioritize. Since if I knew those dang flame cannons were going to be such a pain, I probably would have gone after them and said screw the cannons. Maybe. Because once I'm in combat, the cannons should not be able to do very much. You would think. Do I dare go with the orcs? It sounds like a terrible idea, especially if they're wood elves. I don't have any armor to tank their hits, and they're just gonna kite me all day. Let us be honest. This is another thing to keep in mind. I can't quite go for like a meme army. Especially if there's so many different matchups that could change that. What would be good against the mobility of wood elves though? I would like range and artillery. Maybe this is an opportunity for... Yeah, because they got plenty of woods to hide in. That is a bit of the problem. I'm just playing into their hands with a very aggressive army. I need to somehow force them to come to me. This is where switching armies and account for theirs is kind of going to be important. As I think that's guaranteed losing battle just because of how much woods they have here. And it is kind of giving away, potentially, what kind of army I'm fielding too. Potentially. I have magic missiles, the brass orb, and we have the usual spells. I just gotta pay attention to flyers to punish them with this. Ideally. And hopefully the Death Runner could maybe spot some of their units for me. But I think if they're in the woods, they're going to be really hard to spot anyway. We will have to see, and I do have Skaven Slaves to kind of be as fodder for me too. At no real loss to myself. If I'm completely honest, but we'll see how this goes. I don't feel optimistic to playing into their hand when they're gonna be when they have so many woods to hide in. I just need several different versions of different race armies to be able to at least account for the map, if nothing else. And I'll probably have to put the Ikit Claw army in with this regular Skaven army too, so it's not too obvious when I switch it between the two. And even then, if I don't need a legendary lord, I could choose whatever sub-faction I want anyway. It just means I can't select certain legendary lords, which could be a factor. Unfortunately. They have a lot of woods here and I don't want to be anywhere near that. Simply put. As they are without doubt going to try and utilize it. I wonder if I can hide these things in the woods too. That would be kind of nice. Does not look like it, alas. And being in the woods doesn't really help me a whole lot, does it? But at least it's better than nothing. We'll just have the halberds in their usual spot, trying to protect the catapults. We are going to try and get a decent formation in here. To kind of protect from whatever they have in store. And I do like the Jezzails just being over here to kind of pepper anything that flanks. And I don't know what to do with the Rattling Gunners. Only unknown there for me. And I think the Skaven Slaves, again, they're just going to spot ideally and be the usual fodder. And maybe my Death Runner could spot for me some. Maybe. If I'm so lucky. Oh, I don't want you in the wrong... You're in the wrong group. There we go. Problem solved. Now, let's see how this goes. I'm almost certain they're going to try and hide in a lot of these woods here, even though they kind of are exposed at the moment. And my catapults can't quite reach them at the moment, but I can move as needed. There's no need to rush. Let's just hope they can do some decent damage. Let's just hope we can end off on a win somehow. Now I just gotta remember my hotkeys, since that has been a bit of a problem. Oh, they're just gonna rush me down? Okay.
Land, chieftain.
Glade Riders. They're just rushing right into us. And just take these hits as best you can, hopefully. Yeah, they're just Vanguard rushing me down. I didn't know what to honestly expect there, but...
More systems on. Make corpse.
I don't have defenses, but... maybe I can start shooting them. They have a lot of Vanguard, apparently. Again, I didn't know what to expect here, and this is a mess. Yeah, they have a bunch of Dryads, which I don't even know what Dryads are, if I'm honest. Now, can we just blow these things up? I don't know there. I just don't even know what's going on right now, if I'm honest. And that's a bit of a problem for trying to play this properly. And needless to say, I just got trounced there. Yeah, everything's just getting beaten every front. Unfortunately. And did I fire the magic missile? No, I didn't. And I don't think this Scorch is going to work out very well, but... yeah, my Death Runners just got annihilated. I just didn't want to play into their hands of them just hiding in the woods or anything like that, dang it. And sadly that did not work out. If I had a proper rushing army, like the Orcs and that, maybe it would, well, it wouldn't have fared better because of all the wood archers. And they're just gonna dodge this immediately, are they? Like they did before? Well, it did hit them, but that's over. Not the good way to end off on that this video, this stream. Oh, dang it. I didn't even look at the stats or anything like that. Not that there was really much of anything to really keep in mind. Well. We will try and learn from this either way. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I will see you next time.